shooting for MIT now.
So thank you for adding that in there, Mushi. I think that's an important discussion. So back to making time. If you are in the habit of saying, I don't have time, right? Create an action plan and actually make time. Because let's face it, you do have time. You're just not giving yourself that time, right? If you look at all the people who are successful, let's start with athletes, right? People who are very successful athletes, we often say, "Oh, they're so talented. I wish I had that kind of talent," right? But what we don't see when we watch them play a game on TV or in a stadium, we don't see all the work that goes in before they get to that point, right? And after that point, in between all of those games, right? They work so hard. And we see these examples. I think, Musi, you were telling me the other day, LeBron James starts his day in the gym at 4 in the morning, or he wakes up at 4 in the morning. He's in the gym at 5. I can't remember what you said
Right,
exactly.
right,
But you know what your priorities are, and you make time for those priorities. And when you make that time, I'm sure that he doesn't really have a lot of time to waste. Right?
right,
He's probably not binge watching something on Netflix for 5 hours every night,
right,
right?
right. So, but a lot
um,
of, like you said, yes, Ali, that yeah, I am a basketball fan, and then I do follow in other athletes, but LeBron is right now 37 years old. So one of the thing that what he's doing currently in NBA, we are in almost like halfway in NBA, right? In NBA, taking the lead of all the lead scorer. He has most points he makes. So last 16 years of his career, this year he has his most productive. At the when he shoots, his shooting went higher, and at the same time you have to remember he's 60, he's 37 years old. They have found out there is no one at that age can perform what he's doing. So how is that happening, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He did
Oh,
not take the age that as an excuse. Oh, I'm too old, I can't do it. He had a stronger mindset. I'm sure many other athletes have similar stories. We do not see behind the scene, that so many struggle they go through, right? LeBron this year, earlier twice he was injured, he could not play. Last year he was injured, but during those downtime when they cannot play professional game, they work on the skills they know they are weak at, right? That,
mhm.
and they keep working on improving better than yesterday, better. So they know there is no perfection, it's always progression.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, when he's sitting on the bench
Hmm.
because he's injured, that
Hmm.
doesn't mean he's sitting on the couch, right?
Right.
He's not sitting on the bench doing nothing.
Yep.
He's looking at tape and analyzing games that other people have played, and those kinds of things. It's not like he's sitting around doing nothing at that time. So yeah, we can find ways to be productive. And it doesn't necessarily, it can be active of the mind, or it can be active of the body, right? But
So like you
anyway.
said, in a goal you mentioned about, how do you make time to do something, create your own action plan, right? So number one
Mhm.
thing in action plan is, you mentioned about creating that goal, and that goal has to be smarter. I remember you mentioned, right? And then, so what is it, this smarter goal?
Yeah, I know that you know that, Mushi, so go ahead. Enlighten us.
Okay. So whenever I would say smarter goal, this is a lot of the time people understand or people hear about this goal is smart. I mean, smart is specific, measurable, and actionable. Are for, you have to be relatable, and the time, or also time stamp you have to put something that is smart. And E for, you have to evaluate where you are at, and then R for result oriented, right? So you are evaluate, one R is result, one is, you it's related to your goal. So a whole idea of this, like there is, if you cannot put your a timestamp or put a deadline on any kind of big task or big dream you have, it will never get done. Right. So that's all whole idea. If somebody says, I want to lose weight, you have to start thinking, wow, how much that is. That, what do you consider about, normal, your normal weight, right? So
Yep.
once you say, okay, no, at my age, at this height, at this body structure, that I am overweight 10 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever it is, then now you have a goal that, hey, I want to lose this 10 pounds, 20 pounds in 1 year, in 2 year, in 6 months. That's smarter goal. Or if
Yep.
somebody says, I want to make it, I have a job, and my job, I make the 100,000, but I want to invest my extra time to create a second income. So another second income means maybe 20,000, 30,000 in a year is good for you. Now you have a real goal, knowing that you are going to invest your time to make extra 20,000, 30,000 by 1 year, 2 years, something like that. That's called a
Yep.
smarter goal.
Smarter goal, yeah. So I think the key, of course, all those letters are good, but the key letter M is for measurable and T for time,
Yep.
right? The
Yep.
more specific you can be about what exactly you want to achieve and when you want to achieve it by,
Mhm.
or even if you can break it down into baby steps, this first and this second, and this is going to take me this long, and this is going to take me that long.
Right.
um, be specific about your goals and write them down, right?
Correct.
uh, yeah, so don't just keep them in your head, but write them down. And then also allocate time every week to work towards those goals. Make sure that you have that in your calendar, that you can't say at the end of the day or at the end of the week, oh, I was so busy, I didn't have time to do it. No, you make time. You make sure that that is a priority. It's a big rock that has to go into the container first, right? So maintain a calendar for your goals and your most important tasks. Make sure that you write these things down and that you get them in there, that you allocate the time, and that you know when you're going to be rewarding yourself to do them, right? I think also, in a sense, we have to change our mindset, our way of thinking. And instead of saying, oh, I have to do this, you have to say to yourself, I get to do this,
Yep.
right? It's a blessing, it's a reward that you get to do it. So
Yep.
put it in there. And actually, this is something unrelated to what we were talking about that we've talked about in a previous session, is if you do write a to-do list or you keep things on a calendar and you check things off, to use the kind of language that makes it fun to do, right?
Yep. Well, that's correct.
Instead
Give.
of writing it down as a task that is, not something that you're looking forward to, put it in language and in words that are actually fun, that
Yep.
make you
Give it
look
a
forward to
fun
doing it.
name, like sometimes, like what you said, that chore, the fun name. For example, one of the thing that we started doing that with the kids and the family, that every week we want to get together and spend some time, dinner and talk about this. So we call party time. It's our weekly party time, family party time. So
Yep.
no matter they know that, okay, this day we have a family party.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember when I was younger, I always we didn't have a dishwasher in our house, and my mom and dad had to actually go to work after dinner time, and so my sister and I were always responsible for doing the dishes at nighttime, and we really hated to do the dishes. But if you and we had many a fights during those times. But if you put that in a fun way, and instead of saying ugh the dishes, you know, suds with my sister. something like that. It was time that I got to spend with her with nobody else around that we wouldn't otherwise have together, right? So again, put it in a positive light rather than in some sort of negative thing that you really don't want to deal with it, but you have to. Be positive about it and change your mindset. But back to our action plan. Okay. So have a calendar or a to do list, but write these things down and make sure that they are in there. These important goals that you have, whether they are short term or long term goals, make sure that you allocate time for them. And then look back and evaluate your results at the end of the week. If you didn't make your goals, if you didn't actually get to follow up with your plan that you had written out, what is the cause of that? And is that something that you could have controlled? Is it something that you need to make adjustments on next week? Or is it something that just happened and you have to accept it and let it go and move forward and hope that the next week will be better? Because let's face it, that is something that happens as well, right? Unexpected things come in the way. So we can't always follow our plan, but look back and evaluate, where did you go wrong? And where did things go right? How did that make you feel when things went right? Right. Another thing, have an accountability partner. Don't do it on your own. Tell people what your plans are. Tell people what your goals are. The next time you see them and they say, "Hey, how's it going with ABC?" Um, if you don't have an answer, you're going to feel bad, right? But if you say, "Oh, yeah, man, I've been working hard on this and now look where I am. I only need to go a little bit further," that makes you feel good. So have an accountability partner, share it with people, let them ask you questions, make your goals known to other people, and also, surround yourself with a group of people
So
who will
Ali, on this
support you.
accountability partner, I wanted to
Mhm.
at least emphasize with folks. I know most of us nowadays at home and working from home, or you are not like in office. Those who's in office, you don't have too many of those folks are showing up every day. So you can always start with something in your family that your spouse or your children or your close friend, them let them know those are your big rocks or those big MITs, most important task that you want to have, that goes towards your goal. That let them know, hey, I'm going to, I started working out, I started doing these, I have started controlling, maintaining a healthy life, that I want to achieve this, losing weight or eating right food or this. That way, when you let them know, or you're there, the other person also is going to know, oh wow. So they will time to time will have something to have a conversation and say, how's that going, right? And this is good for you, and also have that accountability partner to, okay.
Yeah, I want to add to that even something else that maybe is an unexpected perk. If you tell your family, your immediate family, what your goals are, and they are supportive, you might even find that they are willing to make sacrifices on your behalf. Right.
Yep.
So, like, for example, you might have something to do, but if your significant other knows that you really want to do this big rock, right? This big thing that you have planned, and you're running out of time, maybe they're going to take one of your chores and say, "You know what? I'm going to take care of this today for you so that you can go and do your thing."
Yep.
Right? They might be willing to make sacrifices for you and in that support. So it's really that's really a beautiful thing to happen.
Yep.
And then I think one of the most important lessons that you've taught me in life, Mushi, is that we cannot wait for things to be perfect before we move forward, because things will never, ever, ever be perfect. Right? We don't live in a perfect world. So
Yeah.
if you wait for things to become perfect, they'll never happen. So your lesson of look for progression, not perfection, I think is a very important one too. We need to progress towards our goal. We don't have to wait until we're perfect with everything, right? That it's the journey that's important. That's another way to say that.
Yep, that's correct.
But we
Journey.
want to reach our goals, but to recognize along the way that we are progressing towards it is really a very powerful thing and a very motivational thing. And then you have to reevaluate and readjust, right? You have to be flexible if things aren't going the way that you want them to go, or things are happening in your life that were unexpected, that weren't part of your plan, but that you do have to deal with. This is what happens, right? Reevaluate, readjust. Don't let go of your dreams, but be realistic and make sure that you are flexible enough to make changes that are necessary. And also, from time to time, give yourself a break and realize, it's okay to have an off day or an off week. You just have to make sure that you pick up the next day or the next week, and don't let one off day turn into 7 off days, turn into 7 weeks of off days, turn into 7 months, right?
Right.
That's something important to keep in mind.
So
And
in
do you have
another
anything else here?
another way you are saying, just you have to learn to adapt, right? Things might go wrong, and if it goes wrong, that's fine, it happens. So you readjust yourself and adapt your plan. So when you are there to make a plan, to make time to do the things so you really wanted to do it, you will find time. Time is something that we do not think about, that it doesn't cost us, but this is most valuable resource that you'll never get back that time, so why not use it?
Yep, that's right. That's right.